Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Debate. I'm Let's Farn, will be your moderator for this debate. Our topic today is genetic manipulation is wrong, and this promises to be an excellent debate. We have Satan arguing that genetic manipulation is wrong, and on the other side, we have voidnil bringing the opposition. We will be having up to a 10-minute opening per side, 45 minutes of open dialogue if required, and a short closing statement followed by audience questions. Remember to tag the moderators with your questions for our debaters. Little reminder to attack the argument and not the debaters or each other. Now, since you are not here to listen to me ramble on, let's get to the show. Satan is going first. You have 10 minutes if needed. Your time starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, genetic manipulation is a powerful technology that has the potential to change the course of human history. However, with great power comes great responsibility, and it is clear to me that we have not yet taken the necessary steps to ensure that this technology is used in a safe and ethical manner. The consequences of mishandling genetic manipulation could be dire, from exasperate, exacerbating existing social inequalities to creating entirely new forms of discrimination. It is our responsibility as a society to ensure that this technology is used for the betterment of all, not just a select few. For these reasons, I firmly believe that genetic manipulation is wrong and should be subject to strict regulation at minimum.
Is that your opening statement? Are you done?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for that opening statement, Satan. And we will now turn to Voidno for their opening. Take it away, Voidno. Mike is now yours.
Yeah, I have my much larger opening statements written down here. So, okay. Hello, I'm Dmitry. I have a degree in physics, and right now I work in IT. And here is my opening statement.
I lost audio.
Sorry?
I can hear you.
Can else hear Voidno?
Do you hear me
Can
well?
anyone hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, I
we
can hear.
hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear everybody.
Okay. Okay. I will just continue. Feel free to stop me.
Okay, I got my audio back. It may have been me. Continue, please.
Okay. My opponent claims that genetic manipulation is wrong, and this is this is the reason why I joined this debate. I'm here today to state that genetic modification is just a technology, and it couldn't be neither wrong or right. It's like a hammer, which could be used to build a house or to hurt people. Or it's like physics, which could be used to drastically improve our lives or to create nuclear weapons. So I'd argue that genetic manipulation is not wrong per se, and in this context, only human intentions could be wrong. I actually used to see that conservatives claim various progress is wrong, and when they have no hard proofs, they tend to weave web of conspiracies. While I believe that genetic modification of food is already well proven to be an extremely useful tool for the humanity, and even much more controversial, genetic modification of people themselves is still something that humanity should research. As for genetic modification of food, I see the next main ideas my opponent may use. State obvious risks which actually not specific to GMO, remind us about necessity of biodiversity, or refer to some unreliable misleading information. So to address all of that, I'm going to remind that the risks are not specific to GMO, but to like capitalism or other traits of modern human society in general. Decrease in biodiversity is not a property of GMO, but farming practices in general, and moreover, GMO technologies opens a lot of opportunities to mitigate these risks and enrich our biodiversity. And as for unreliable bits of information, let's just stop on one of them, analyze and analyze in detail. So, okay, now about genetic modification of people. I recognize that here is a much greater risk of slippery slope. The main reason of that is that in this case, object and subject are the same entity. Thus, there is a possibility to kick off some destructive positive feedback loop, in the result of which there will be nobody left to fix the mistakes. But
What happened?
He disconnected.
Um,
Well, let's give it a minute.
yes,
See if he rejoins.
we'll give it a minute. As a matter of fact, I do not know if I'm catching the audio from him. Can you tell if you are?
I hear him.
Yes, I
Well, I
believe I
don't mean
am.
I can hear him. I just don't know if I'm recording him. Ah,
Yeah, I believe
we
that I
got
am.
we got we need to
Yes,
find out what happened to him. Where'd he go? Wait, no.
I think he might.
um,
Well, they connected.
sorry,
Hello. You're back.
it looks like my Discord crashed. Yeah, that might be a problem.
It happened.
Where I stopped? Sorry. Uh, what was my last thought you heard?
Something about the feedback loop, I think.
Yes. Okay. Um, Okay, I will just continue here. Thus, there is a possibility to kick off some destructive positive feedback loop, in the result of which there will be nobody left to fix the mistakes. But again, genetic modification is just a technology which could be used to create a dystopia or to cure cancer, HIV, herpes, various genetic and non-genetic diseases, aging, obesity, adapting people to do far space travel, and do a lot of other unimaginable good stuff. The same way physics is not bad or wrong just because it enabled somebody like Putin to threat the whole world with nuclear extermination. Um, we already do indirect genetic engineering of animals and even people. We were breeding different animals for thousands of years, and nowadays we prevent various genetic diseases in babies. But with this research in genetic engineering, we will finally understand how that works. And with more knowledge we have, less mistakes we do, and more precisely we mitigate any risks. Um, we even already do treat infertility through genetic engineering, and the world haven't exploited because of that. If we talk about social inequality, then again, this is a common problem and not limited by genetic engineering. For example, right now, not everybody can afford an in vitro fertilization. Thus, we may say that some people are more privileged to have children than others. This is a property of how we as people treat each other, and not really a problem of genetic engineering itself. So I'd love to have some another debates about social inequality in general, but today the topic is if genetic engineering is wrong. If my opponent wants to argue that we need to just in case declare genetic modification wrong to avoid possible risks, I'd say that genetic modification is the future no matter what. CRISPR is only the beginning, but it is already a way to available technology. We have like biohackers all over the world. We may claim it is wrong or not, but as any other inevitable progress, which was initially discarded by some conservative people, I'm pretty sure that genetic modification will permeate our society in coming decades. So our focus should be not on rejecting genetic modification per se, but on developing ethics and legislation to mitigate risks and extract the benefits from it. And any arguments like it destroys usual way of life or and the essence of what human is, I think are obviously morally true, too presuppositioned, and moreover are just naive. Any human, any animal on Earth is always exposed to random mutations, while the vast majority of these mutations are degrading ones. On top of that, there is also sex selection, which drives persistent evolution. So human always change anyway. Even right now, in developed countries, we already terminate almost all pregnancies if a Down syndrome is suspected. So in current reality, the question here basically is only about how many parameters we want to choose from and how precise we want to be. Uh, and more knowledge we have, more informative decisions we can do to avoid possible risks. I think we should embrace genetic modification research even for people. Overall, I agree that ultimately genetic modification of people is a complex and nuanced issue and should be approached with caution. But because of that, I believe it should be right thing to do to invest into public research in this area, to be able to develop proper ethics and law framework to extract the benefits and mitigate the risks of inevitable future. My English is terrible. But I'm not a specialist in this area, and quite probably I just do not know how actually genetic modification is. So I'm happy to learn new things today, and I'm thank you for the opportunity to participate in this debate. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Voidnil, for your opening. We will now move into the open dialogue where our debaters will have up to 45 minutes to cross examine each other. Talk amongst yourselves, debaters.
Okay, just let me open my notes. I have my notes here. I would like to address some concerns that you raised about the potential benefits of genetic manipulation. While it is true that this technology has the potential to cure diseases and improve human health, it is important to remember that there are also risks involved. For example, there is the risk of creating unintended side effects, as well as the possibility of exasperating existing social inequalities if the technology is not regulated. Like it can, I know there is already like discrimination and racism, but genetic modification can accentuate that and make it worse. And what do you think about that? What do you say about that?
Well, I don't really understand what exactly do you propose. You propose like to make any work in this area illegal, or what exactly do you propose?
I'm
What
not
do you mean by
saying
wrong?
I'm not saying make things illegal. I'm saying like regulate it so that it's not as available to the public. Like you shouldn't be able to change your hair color, for instance, at will. That's just stupid.
Um, okay.
Sorry. My debate is digressing. Regressing. I lost my notes. I'm just finding them again. But continue. Your sound is off. Voidnil, your mic.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm curious. Why do you say genetic manipulation is wrong if you say that we should preserve it in some regulated way?
I mean, like it's wrong for humans to modify themselves.
Do you think
Like,
it's wrong for scientists to modify humans?
if they find a way that's totally safe. I mean, like totally safe, because like it's probably never gonna be safe. Like science, like if I change my genes to say I'm immune to cancer, that can actually make that I am more susceptible to cancer uh, than other people accidentally. Either that, or say it makes me immune to cancer. Then technically I'm not human. I'll put that in quotes because I'm then a modified
I think I don't hear my opponent.
It seems that he's
Okay.
lost his connection or something.
Yeah, we need to work more on our technical uh, like stuff to avoid this next time.
Looks like mine froze now. Oh no, it's moving.
Okay, I will just say something while we waiting. So, um, in my mind, if we say that something is wrong, like universally as it was claimed, then we should discourage it everywhere. But if we say that research are fine, then it's not the same thing as say that genetic manipulation is wrong. And I think it's pretty obvious that as any major technology, this one should be regulated. So um, yeah, I need to find what exactly this is wrong means to be able to address more specifically our differences on this.
And I suppose that this is that time period when Satan said that they were doing the rolling blackouts and that he would have to wait until the solar panels kicked in.
Ah, yes. Yeah, everybody who is listening to this, sorry. Yeah.
I think this is.
Oh, I see there is a person who wants to debate. It's wrong in chat. He's saying because it's changing God's creation. But as I said, every creation changes all the time, and we.
sorry.
Sorry. Ah, yeah, you are
Sorry.
back. Hello.
Um, my the power went off. Load shedding.
We just mentioned that.
Yeah, that's fine. No worries.
Um,
I
but we have inverter running for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I was trying to understand what exactly means when you say is wrong, because you do permit this research in science. So how it could be at the same time wrong and permitted somewhere?
Well, I think it should be subject to strict regulation. Hello?
Yes, I agree. As any technology, basically. Um, Hello? Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ah, okay. Um, the problem is, I agree that genetic manipulation should be regulated. So we don't have like difference in our views here, and I'm trying to find it. How much do you think it should be regulated? So, for example, right now, I heard in the US there are biohackers who use CRISPR to change their own DNA. Do you want to forbid them to do so? And
Hello?
Oh,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it should be illegal for uh, biohackers to modify their own DNA for in the like at least. Um, and then some other restrictions. Sorry, I had to. look up my notes. An independent oversight committee, like deciding what can be done and what shouldn't be done. And that's just one of my ideas for regulation. Hello, is
Yeah, hello, I
he
hear you.
there? Okay.
Yeah, this will be
Change to
boring.
increase intelligence or strong heart and lungs. That can be done without genetics.
What could be done without genetics? Sorry, say again.
Um, sorry, Truth Slayer said, what about to, change to increase intelligence or strong heart and lungs? In the chat. And I said that that could be done
Ah,
without using genetic modifications.
how?
Like, I mean, a stronger heart, um, heart transplant. Like, I mean, genetic modification isn't really cheaper than a heart transplant.
Oh, genetic modification is pretty cheap. CRISPR allows basically anybody to do genetic modification basically for free. So, and like, I'm curious, where do you think is the boundary of where genetic modification can go to, even through, even if all the regulation is in place, oversight committee is in place, where do you think the boundary of what we are allowed to do with ourselves?
Well, the use of genetic manipulation to prevent passing on genetic disorders and diseases, like designer babies, that shouldn't happen. I mean, I heard your thing about fertilization, but that's a different story than modifying a baby. And you also said that technology is a tool that can be used, and a tool is not necessarily evil. But I mean, tool, like, I'm gonna compare genetic modification to an atomic bomb.
Okay,
You hear
so
what I'm saying?
just to find a point of conflict between our point of views, I actually think that there is no limitations on how humans could be changed, and this is a right thing to do. I mean, gradually to improve humans, to make them, uh, few seconds, to make
Another
them,
thing,
sorry,
sorry. No,
yeah,
sorry, go on.
to make them possible to like colonize the whole galaxy or whatnot. So. Um, and I understand you have limitations. That's correct?
Yes, genetic manipulation could lead to unintended consequences, such as the creation of new diseases or disorders. I found the note I was looking for.
Okay, but it's like with the food GMO. In food GMO, people used to believe that GMO is much more like riskier than so-called natural food. But in the end of the day, GMO goes through a lot of tests and evaluations before it is permitted to the market, and thus it is usually much safer than what is called natural food. I think that pretty similar phenomena can happen with the designer babies. Why not? I mean,
I'm okay. I'm okay with GMOs.
okay,
So we're not gonna. We don't have to debate that.
okay. I'm saying,
But humans are a completely different thing. And there is a difference between difference between man and affects all of us socially and biologically. GMOs only um, are any of you hearing me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, because my screen is freezing. So I assume that no one is hearing me.
Uh,
I can hear you quite well.
just to understand, do
Okay.
you think that genetic manipulation of monkeys is wrong?
Genetic manipulation of monkeys um, depends on how you what there has to be regulations in place for that. Like any kind of animal experimentation, there has to be stuff in place for that.
So,
I'm still trying
um,
to figure it out.
how differs? So, let's say there is food, plants, there is monkeys, and there is humans. How differs the regulations for each of them? I mean, how differs the regulation for monkeys and for plants in your worldview?
Oh, looks like he froze on my end.
Yeah, on my also.
We'll give him a minute, see if it comes back. That whole power shedding thing in South Africa, that's got to be a pain in the butt. Sounds like rolling blackouts in California. And well, if you'd like to say something, voidnil, until he comes back.
Okay.
Looks
Um,
like we may have lost him for a second here.
okay. Uh, Connecting.
Oh, well, he's connecting. Hopefully his service is working. We might want to tell him to turn off his camera so that his audio won't freeze up and stuff. Probably run
Okay.
better.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No worries.
My Wi-Fi keeps disconnecting.
Uh, Satan, you heard my opening statement. Could you find some contradiction with your worldview so that we will focus on something to debate?
Okay, sorry for all that. It could be used to create designer babies. This is genetic modification, where parents can select the traits of their child, leading to a society where people are judged based on their genetic makeup.
Okay.
Moreover, genetic manipulation can be used to create a hierarchy of people based on their genetic abilities.
Okay. Why is that bad? I'm not saying that's good. Just to understand your position better. Why this inequality is bad?
I mean, like, people who are smart are already like divided from people who are um, not smart, like Mensa and all that stuff. And if genetic modification happened to make some people smarter and others not, that division would be greater.
Okay.
For instance,
Let's say
for example.
let's say we permit biohacking, I mean individual biohacking, and permit public research and all that stuff. In this case, knowledge about how to improve yourself and how to improve your children will be much more available for poor people. And in this case, you will reduce inequality. So why is that wrong?
Because we already said that it has to be regulated, and like if we allow it, it has to be regulated because of previous statements we made, and now with this division thing, if it is regulated and sorry, I'm losing my point. I'm rambling.
My like what I don't understand how you do this um, how you get from uh, we need to forbid biohacking to this will reduce social inequality. In my like understanding of the situation, it is the opposite. When we allow biohacking, we make some kind of public knowledge about how to do improvements to our inheritance. So
Yes,
how it
but
works?
people would. Um, I'm going to be straight with you. People are stupid. That's why it shouldn't be publicly available. People are stupid, and I don't know if you agree with that, but that's what I think. People are stupid. They're going to use it for stupid stuff, and that's why it should not be made publicly available. That everyone can do it.
Um,
I mean,
yeah,
have
but
you
this
seen
will
the
reduce social inequality, which you were opposed to a few minutes ago.
have you seen the stupid shit people do on Twitter for TikTok challenges? They
Look,
run away from home. They run
uh,
away from home, for instance, as a TikTok challenge.
the beautiful part here is that natural selection work here. Somebody who that does mistakes to themselves, they they mm, they do not. They're much less likely to contribute into genophond. I mean, when they do changes to their organism, these contributions are much less likely to be distributed to the society.
I mean, that is kind of not right. Like, ethically, that is not a right thing to do. You have to preserve as much of society as possible. Like, you're not going around and say kids who run away are stupid. The police shouldn't go looking after them because it's natural selection.
To me, argument that people are stupid is not specific enough. Could you specify risks you want to avoid?
Um, Stupid things people are going to be able to do. Like, someone is going to want to make their skin glow in the dark, for
Okay.
instance, and then they can have unintended consequences when they do that.
Okay, and uh,
And they can go experimenting outside the boundaries that regulation, if there is regulation, put for them. Like, for instance, they could try to manipulate a gene that hasn't been researched before, and then when they manipulated it, they can make themselves more susceptible to danger. Or they could make it so that any diseases they get evolve faster,
yeah, okay, but
creating more
we
dangerous
will
diseases.
we will get more and more knowledge. So more we do this kind of experiments, more knowledge we get, and more precise we are in what traits we want to be expressed. Uh,
Yes, but leave that up to a scientist then. Leave it up to them to do those experiments.
My Discord is crashing. Um, yeah, I myself I agree that better to do much more public research rather than like outside of public research. But this is still an interesting topic. I kind of do not understand what exactly is the problem because okay, somebody added problems to themselves. This will be noticed quite soon that this genetic modification leads to these problems, and then this genetic modification will be corrected back because if we advocate for genetic modifications, we open ourselves opportunities to fix problems we made. So
Yes,
what is
but
the real problem?
I mean, sorry, can I just, sorry to interrupt, but
No.
here in this part is what I have a problem with is that when someone modifies themselves and like stupidly and causing harm, they could cause harm to the rest of society.
You mean because when they will make children with other people who haven't modified themselves, the children can
Yes,
inherit bad traits, correct?
yes. Not
Yeah.
only that, but
Okay.
also like if everyone could modify themselves, then it could erode genetic variety. Do you know what genetic variety is?
Yeah, of course. I'm a big fan of
Like
biodiversity.
it's the reason. It's the reason why we're not allowed to have incestuous relationships because that erodes genetic variety.
Uh, sorry, say again. You say we should discourage interracial relationships. Did I heard you correctly? Have
No,
I heard? No?
not
Okay.
not in not interracial relationships, incestual relationships like a brother and a sister having kids.
Sound quality is bad. Okay.
Like
Um,
like that will cause um, mutations and stuff. Because there isn't a lot of genetic variety between a brother and a sister.
okay.
And
Now I understood. Okay. Um,
yes,
y- yeah, but again, genetic modification only increases the amount of possible variations. So, of course, you can find some successful modifications and they might become popular. But in general, you open like limitless field for different experimentations and enriching our genophone. And even let's roll back. Um, yeah, about children and the bad traits we can then like preserve. As I was saying, when you do genetic modification and your children inherit some bad unintentional problems, most likely these problems will be diagnosed in some medical facility as caused by these genetic modifications if we don't forbid this kind of activity and research. Thus, these children could be fixed. Their genes could be just switched back to remove the bad gene. So why is that problem?
um, just a sec. Let me go sit down.
Okay.
I got told to go away from there where I sat. Um, I'm going to stand here. So, I mean, if a lot of people are doing the same genetic modifications, say making you
Yeah, I
making you
understand that
more
thing
like
about diversity. Let's discuss it later. Let's just finish
yes,
the children
yes.
thing
I'm,
first.
I'm talking I'm talking about diversity. If a lot of people make the same genetic modifications, then those genes that they are modifying to do the same thing, like modify it that no one uh, no one is susceptible to cancer. That gene that caused genetic variety is then removed, and the more genes they modify to do the same thing, the more genes are going to be the same, and that will erode variety.
Yeah, I understand this argument. Let's discuss it after children. So we have two things. You say that we can inherit bad traits. I mean, children can inherit bad traits, and I tried to argue that. And then you say it decreases the variety. I can argue that. Let's finish with children. I'm saying that even if you inherit some bad trait, you can fix it afterwards if you do not discourage genetic manipulation, so that medical facilities has enough knowledge to diagnose this and fix this.
Yes, but what if those kids are then immune to something like CRISPR?
Uh, I don't think you can be immune to CRISPR. I mean, like.
I
Uh,
mean, you could be immune to anything, any kind of treatment.
uh, Well, if you like replace your DNA with something else, maybe. But I understand that maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a specialist here, but I understand that CRISPR is pretty universal in terms of it can change basically any DNA. So while you contain your information in DNA, you could be changed with CRISPR. And CRISPR is only like the first tool. I believe there will be more sophisticated tools if we permit genetic modification research. Okay.
Not, sorry, another note I had about your opening statement. Um, you said like we are already manipulating genetics by in animals, for instance, by letting a better animal mate with better animals, and the weaker animals go off, and same with plants. It's basically what modification in animals. Um, what I wanted to say is the natural genetic modification, that's what I call that, is different because you're not modifying the code of the animal like yourself. Like,
You do.
can I explain it as a program?
Sorry?
Can I explain it as a program?
As a program? Okay.
Um, let's say an AI wrote a program that is our genes, and those programs can be um, combined or they can be separated on different levels. That's okay, but change the legacy code of the program, then a lot of bugs and errors can occur. Does that make sense?
Uh, Not. Exactly. So first of all, you are not limited by DNA of your parents. You have random mutations,
Yes.
and when you do selection of animals, you kinda select which random mutations you like and not. Just you rely on some randomness to create these changes. In case of genetic engineering, you, with surgical precision, can choose what exactly change do you need. So this is like the major difference here.
Yes,
And
but we do not know enough
yeah,
about genetics. We do not know enough about genetics. Um, as far as we know, we only have 23 genes, and scientists have said they think there are more. I think it's 23. Am I
um,
correct with that number?
I do not think so. I think you are thinking about chromosomes. But okay,
No.
uh, and even if we put animals aside, I also said that we already terminate the vast majority of pregnancies in like developed countries if we suspect some genetic disorders like Down syndrome or something like that.
Yes, but that's not modifying genes, really.
Yeah, we just exclude specific gene from our genophone.
But we do that to avoid the child suffering, mostly.
Okay, can we use genetic modification to cure cancer, to cure HIV, herpes?
We do not yet know. We don't have that technology yet.
We kinda do. If I remember correctly, there was research which successfully cured cancer with targeted uh, cure for specific. I don't remember who it was, either mouse or maybe human. I don't remember exactly. Sorry, but we already have this kind of technology, if I remember
Um,
correctly.
Gene transfer is a new treatment modality that introduces new genes into a cancerous cell or the surrounding tissue to cause cell death or slow the growth of the cancer.
Basically, the treatment, the cure I was reading about, it helps our immune system to recognize cancer cells uh, by changing these cancer cells. And after that, our organism can fight it. Okay.
Do you have
Yes.
any thing? Do you have anything about my opening statement?
Well, the problem is your initial statement to open the debates was genetic manipulation is wrong. It is a very generic statement, and I was going to argue that. But in your opening statement, you said that genetic manipulation requires regulation, and I mostly agree with that. I disagree with the amount of regulation. You basically forbid anything but some small things. I actually think that um, we should apply the opposite approach. We should basically forbid all but things we know are bad. So I guess here our major difference is. Uh, yeah, for example, I have no strong opinion about biohacking. Should we forbid it or not? You say we should, if I understand correctly. I think that biohacking actually mitigates the risks you stated in your open statement, such as social inequality, such as unknown risks, because when we do this kind of research, we gather more and more public knowledge about genetic manipulation of our bodies.
Ge- Genetic manipulation is a relatively new damn it, what's the word?
Technology, let's say.
Relatively new thing.
Okay.
Yes, it's a relatively new thing. So we do not know, some risks we do not know about can occur.
Okay. Um,
There, like in anything new, there are risks that we do not know about that can occur. And like it's playing with fire.
um,
Okay, can I use an? Oh shit! Are you still there? Am I disconnected?
I'm here again. Um, uh, we
Can I use an old debate because I'm losing my sense here? And
sorry, say
can
again.
I like read what? Can I use an old debate I used?
Okay. You want to read something? If you do, then okay.
Yes. Changing the genetics of someone is dangerous. Yeah, it might prevent cancer, but can only make other. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. It might prevent cancer, but it can make other diseases deadly, like the common cold. Because changing the genetics is, not only changes how the virus acts in your body, it also changes how its cure works, making the cure for the cold ineffective. And you can replace any illness in that scenario, the malaria, black plague, cowpox, but using robotics, oh, okay, this is a different part of the debate. Um, I then went on to say it's just too risky and dangerous, and
The problem
other
is
guy said other guy said genetic editing for cosmetic reasons would open up a whole world of terror. Fashion and body trends are already very powerful and can lead to negativity. And that reinforces my statement, but my argument only applied to some cases.
the problem here is
And
you say there are risks. I say there is a way to handle these risks. And I do not get answer on my argument that we can handle these risks. As I said before, if we encourage genetic modifications, then we will get enough tools and knowledge to fix mistakes we do. So, for example, if there is some malicious gene we introduced, we can just revert it. So, what is the problem? Why do you think we cannot revert it?
I mean, for now, it's impossible to revert anything.
I I don't know. I have an impression. It could be a false impression, but I have an impression that those biohackers they basically do the changes in their organisms for free, basically. So they use their own blood and CRISPR and some external source of genes to introduce changes to themselves. And this is like doable by any person in their garage. So it's not like rocket science or whatnot. I mean, if
I
you
mean,
know what exactly you need to
tech-
do, it's easy to do. Feel free to argue
um,
that I may be wrong, of course.
no, only things I basically know about um, genetic manipulation is a series I saw a while ago, and it seemed pretty cool on the surface. But it's also very dangerous. Another point I wanted to bring up, sorry that I'm bringing up so many points, but another point I wanted to bring up is bio warfare. It
Okay.
like it's too dangerous. People can use it for biowarfare, and that's just a whole lot of danger we're not ready for.
The problem is CRISPR is already there. It means that any bioterrorist may do their research no matter what. You can forbid it, you cannot forbid it, but the components are so widely available that you cannot forbid illegal activity in this area. So the best way to like mitigate risks of bioterror is to encourage, to embrace biomodification research and biohacking and that stuff. This way we will have protection against bioterrorism.
Because the series I saw, the one guy used genetic modification. I think the uh, series I'm talking about is Biohackers, the series. The one guy modified mosquitoes to be extremely dangerous. One bite and you're dead. And like, how are you going to fight that uh, in biowarfare? It's almost impossible to fight such a thing.
I agree. This is a real danger. And what I'm saying is to get prepared to this danger, we need to do as much research, like, not as much, but a lot of research. And of course, it makes sense to like teach people, like you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do that. If you want to do some biohacking, then please do it on some in some safe way. So we need not to forbid, but to direct people into like more useful activity. But if you would say this is wrong and we should forbid it at all, then in this case bioterrorists will continue their research, but good people would not continue research, and we will not have a protection. We will not have knowledge how to fix what bioterrorists will do.
Please tell me, what was your field of expertise again?
I'm a physicist, and I work in IT.
You're very good at debate. I have to say that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Well,
wasn't
guys,
properly. I'm not properly prepared for that. Okay.
Well, it was fun.
we are very close to 11. It's been a couple of hours. If you guys would like to start wrapping it up, since Satan opened first, if Voidno would like to make his closing statement first, have at it.
Oh, my closing statement first.
Well, you did your opening first, so we were going to let Voidnil go first on the closing statement.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. My closing statement, what would it be? Yeah, okay. I think that
I thought that.
uh,
Sorry. Isn't Q&A before opening statement?
No, the Q&A comes after your guys' closing of your argument. Then we will have Q&A. I don't see any. I haven't found any questions that are tagging you guys yet. I'm looking.
okay. I think that we should not only be cautious about genetic manipulation, but also about forbidding genetic manipulation, because it is a very powerful and very useful for the humanity tool. And moreover, as I said in the opening statement, this is our future no matter what. So the only thing we can control is how we will meet this future. Would it be accessible only by bad people, or we would do our own research as we think of ourselves as morally good people, right? So I think that we need to create guidelines about what is good in genetic modification and what is not. And like, I agree that there are very important risks which we need to mitigate. But reality is so that CRISPR is there and we need to address that. And we cannot address that by just stating that genetic manipulation is wrong and we should forbid it for everybody but. Yeah, I guess that's my closing statement.
Well, thank you very much, voidnil. Now, if Satan would like to make a closing statement, have at it.
Um, Sorry, my computer is glitching for now. What I uh, mistake I made was that I made the topic genetic manipulation is wrong. What I actually meant is that it's risky and dangerous. That was the topic I wanted to discuss. I've forgotten stuff. Um, my laptop is lagging.
Well, I still don't see any questions from the audience, so maybe I'll ask you guys one. It seems like all technology that we have, from to medical to genetic manipulation, has its good and bad. Um, what could we do to keep risks to a minimum?
Well, my opinion that we should do exactly what we do right now. We should discuss it. We should like um, it shouldn't like go under radar. People should be aware of what is happening and they should express their concerns as Satan does, so that scientists do not miss anything. And in the end of the day, as Satan said in his opening state, it makes sense to have some committees which helps to consolidate a lot of opinions together and create a consensus, as it was done for global warming, for example, or climate change in modern terms.
Um,
Yes, right?
what I want to say about your point of making genetic manipulation more publicly available, like all biohackers can do it and stuff, that's the same as saying the gun debate. Like allowing everyone to carry a gun is going to mitigate the risks of terrorists carrying guns. It's pretty much the same principle.
For a second, I was agree. This is indeed an interesting argument, but then I realized it is not because bullets are very limited in how they fly. So basically, the danger propagates only to some radius of some malfactor. While in bioterrorism, the terrorist could be initiated
Bioterrorism.
from anywhere.
But I
S-
mean, for forbidding like everyone to do genetic modification can prevent terrorism in the sense of it's going to make a terrorist time harder of learning how to modify genes.
I disagree. There is a lot of countries that will not forbid it anyway. Maybe because they hate the Western world or whatnot. They might have different reasons. And the fact that you would forbid genetic research in your territory doesn't make you safe from some genetic modified whatnot from another country. This is one problem. Another is even if with weapons, when you forbid it, you can enforce it. You see people with weapons or whatnot. With genetic manipulation, it is much harder to enforce it. So only morally good people who are lawful would not use genetic manipulation, and we would lose only the good part of research, while bad
Uh,
people will continue to do their stuff.
um, what I want to say is that you can you can detect genetic manipulation people that do it illegally um, by the same way that we find out that people are making meth, for instance. You can, like, a meth lab has the distinct characteristics of a meth lab. The same thing goes for gene therapy. Well, is gene therapy and genetic manipulation the same thing?
Let's say so. I'm not a
I
specialist
think,
here.
yeah, I'm not a specialist either.
So,
but
okay.
gene therapy lab would also have the distinct characteristics of a gene therapy lab, and encouraging people to um, report it also helps.
The problem, so with meth, the problem is you need to produce a lot of meth. So you create a lot of chemical trail, which is visible even from drones. With the biohacking, you don't need that. You need like micrograms of your product, and this could change the whole world. So no, I don't think the same way would work actually.
Also, making the chemicals used in gene therapy restricted can also um, could also work, like restricting gene therapy for the public.
Uh, Again, the problem is the technology is too available. You cannot just eliminate it. So when you do forbid it, you only take out conscious, lawful people, while other people will continue to do that, and you cannot enforce it.
And that seems like a really nice segue into our next audience question, if you
Okay.
guys are ready.
Yep.
All right. Um, Pensive Bread asks, should the technology be available commercially or strictly controlled by the government?
At the very least, it should be controlled by the government. Let's bomb your mic is off.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I think government should
Uh-oh.
spend a lot of efforts on creating standards, guidelines, public research, and all that stuff to help guide commercial sector. And I think government should be very proactive on forbidding very dangerous things to do. So they should be
Or they should
like
forbid certain types of modifications.
yes, they should forbid certain types of modifications and be very proactive on that. But in general, I think that commercial genetic modification should exist. But we should start with baby steps. Right now, we should start with something extremely well known to be safe. Then let's see how it works.
Like changing hair color.
Sorry?
Like changing hair color.
I don't know. Let scientists decide what is safe, what is not. Then, when it goes well, we can do additional baby step and like allow more things in commercial area. And our final goal should be so that the whole genetic modification goes in commercial sector. We just need to go there smoothly, slowly, gradually.
Um, yes, I understand that. Like, but there are governments that are not going to follow that. Like, I mean, can I take South Africa as an example? Um, for years, they've said they have, okay, this is not scientific research, this is economy. Sorry, I think there is difference, but I'm just making an analogy.
Okay.
For years, they've been making plans to like make the economy stronger and everything, but they don't really follow the plans. Like they have we have something in South Africa called debt counseling. I don't know if it's in other countries as well, but debt counseling is like someone is advising you how to minimize your debt and clear up your debt. Now, South Africa is basically in debt counseling, but they don't follow the guidelines set for them and keep borrowing more money and borrowing more money. And the same thing could happen to genetic modification. The countries say we are going to uh, release this step by step in a step by step plan, but then it gets released by some scientist that works there illegally, for example. Everything gets released all at once.
Sorry, do I understand your argument correctly that you're saying uh, that there could be mistakes in regulation, or we might not be
Yes,
able to enforce these regulations, or?
yes.
Uh, Yeah, I agree. There could be, of course, such kind of problems, but in the end of the day, we need to put trust into something. And if we say that state is not capable to anything, then the whole discussion doesn't make sense because any regulation we want to enforce would not work. I'm saying that what the path I propose, in my opinion, is the least riskier one. That's what I say. But yes, there are still risks.
But in eventuality, my opinion, this is just an opinion, this isn't a fact, is that society is not ready for the technology. We are not ready for the technology. Maybe in 100 years, when we're more understanding of social inequality and stuff, maybe then. But for now, society is not ready for the technology.
Technology is already there, so we cannot just not accept this fact. You know, like grief stages. The last one is acceptance. We need to accept this fact and deal with this. And the way to deal with this is not rejecting this, but to direct it. I think we should wrap
And
up because we are kind of out of our reglement. Do we have more questions?
We do not have any more questions currently from the
Okay.
audience. I kind of wish there were. I think this debate may have been a little too intellectual for them. I don't know.
I think we just should have clarified our positions before these debates better, so that,
Well,
uh, yeah.
I don't know
yes,
if this was your first debate for both of you, but you did just fine. I mean,
excuse me, what did you say?
I said I don't know if this was the first debate for both of you, but you did very well, and we just lost Void Nil.
But I don't think I did
He's
very
back.
well.
Oh, you did. You did just fine. But and if it was like your first debate, then this is consider it a practice debate. You'll be better prepared for the next one, right?
Yeah, but
Awesome.
I'm really I really thought I was properly prepared for this debate, and voidnil actually showed me that I don't know a lot about genetic modification and um, how it is currently. So thank you, Voidnil. You this was a learning opportunity, and that is actually what debates are about: to be a learning opportunity for the people listening to debates. And I learned something today.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you. It was fun.
Well,
Yeah, it was.
as the moderator just sitting here listening to you guys debate, I also learned some things. So, hey, you educated all of us. And I'd like to thank you both very much. This was I think it was a good debate. And, with a little practice, we'll all get better, including me. Um,
Yeah.
well,
Um.
since we don't have any more audience questions, I will take this opportunity to
I
wrap this up.
can. I want to say I'm sorry. I know there were a lot of fallacies in my arguments. So I'm just sorry for that.
I didn't feel like we both were not in terms of formal debate, so and I didn't feel any bad faith in like your position. So
Yes,
Yeah, just
but a fallacy is an invalid argument.
yeah, I know. I also did fallacies. I mean, we genuinely tried to express our position, so I don't think there are any problems.
Yes.
well, I'm sure that you're both familiar with the fallacy, right? Which means that maybe you made your point with a fallacy, but that doesn't mean that your point is wrong. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a
well, I'd like to.
really that's a really good point. I have to use it in my debate groups.
Well, hopefully we will be having a fallacy show where we will be going over individual logical fallacies, and we would like to probably do that weekly if possible. So feel free to take part because they will be panel type shows.
W- Fallacy shows?
Yeah, we're
I'm
going to discuss.
really
We're going to discuss logical fallacies. We're going to start with like straw man and the two quo qui and a few others that are really easy, and then we're going to progress into the harder ones.
I, I have a website for you guys then. A fallacy website.
Well, drop us a link in the chat. We appreciate it. Well, I'm going to close.
Okay.
I'm going to close this up today, and then we can just go into an open chat if we want to. But I'd like to thank
Okay.
you all for coming today, and I hope that you enjoyed our show. If either debater would like to do a little self promotion, now's your chance. If you have a channel or a website of your own that you'd like to promote,
Uh,
either
I
of you.
created I created a Reddit account for ChatGPT. It's ChatGPT underscore bot. If you want to check it out, and if you ever want have a question or on Reddit or something, you can just tag it with mentioning the username u/ChatGPT underscore bot.
Nice. Anything void nil?
No, thank you. Thank you for the debates.
Uh,
Thank you for hosting. Bye.
all right. Well, I'd like
Thank you for the debate.
to come in.
I loved it.
I enjoyed the debate myself. I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and please remember, let's not fight. Let's debate the topics and let's talk about news. Everybody have a good day.